Hello, 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 and welcome to the Disappearance of the Universe audiobook club call. My name is Jared Krebs, and I am super excited because today is our first call of our fourth round. Can you believe it? We've actually taken 4 groups of people through this call, and it's been the coolest thing ever. I want to really welcome our new people that are on the call for the very first time. You're in for a great treat, for a great conversation. And just to give you some background about how this group came together, I actually created this group out of my landmark leadership training. They said, choose something that you're passionate about and bring it to your community. And I was in this training really for my business, but I'm like, you know what? The thing I'm most passionate about is my spiritual life, my Course in Miracles. I don't talk about it to anybody. And so I decided to create this audio book club because I felt like the Course in Miracles is a little too difficult for me to explain to somebody. And so this audio book club does the best job ever. In fact, it's what made me understand A Course in Miracles. So this group is basically designed to introduce new people to what A Course in Miracles can do for them. So what can A Course in Miracles do for you? Well, I can say what it's done for me, which is clear a lot of subconscious guilt, help me figure out how to totally transcend the ego, how to see it for what it is, peace at the highest level, forgiveness at the highest level. I mean, it's a journey. You know, there's not something that arrives. It's like you never say I arrive, because actually the ego doesn't even exist. So I don't even need to arrive. But there's so much awesome stuff about this. And not only that, but we're a community. And so we get to talk every Friday from 4 to 5 Central, 3 to 4 Mountain. And we have people literally from all over the United States that get on this call. And so how we always start is by having people say their name, where they're located, what city and state that they're in, and why they are excited about today's call. So that's how we're going to warm things up. So I will start. I am Jared. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. And I am excited about today's call because I love talking about Chapter 1. And I'm super excited for our brand new people that are hearing the audiobook for the first time. So that's why I'm excited, and that's me. So who wants to go next? Just unmute yourself, and we'll go to you.
I'll jump up.
Will.
My name's Will, and I'm in Toronto, Canada, not the U.S.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Welcome, our first Canadian team member.
Oh, am I the first? So you've gone.
Yes.
You've gone international.
Thank you.
Which is actually for me when I introduce USANA and I get to go through the slides and I say I've got customers in Beijing and Australia. That's like my favorite part of the whole presentation, just to be able to say that. So now you get to say that too.
Yes.
And I'm excited about today's call because for a lot of reasons. I have spiritual flavored conversations every day, and but what I'm most excited about is just our reconnection, Jared. That we first met 10 years ago when I listened to your audio on USANA's Life Masters. And I thought, that guy sounds really cool. And then I met you at convention briefly. And then now here we are 10 years later, connecting on a totally different topic. It's pretty amazing and pretty crazy.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Will. I'm super excited to connect with you. And congratulations on being a father and your new baby that's like 1 day old.
Yeah, 12 days.
12 days old.
11 days. Yeah.
Show us, is she with you?
No, she's she's breastfeeding in the other room.
Okay.
Mealtime.
Awesome. Well, big congratulations. We can't wait to
Thanks.
see her.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, who's next?
Hey.
Hi.
Okay, this is the first time I've been doing it on the computer, so I'm getting used to it. I usually on my phone. Anyways, I'm Angela Irving, and I'm in Austin, Texas. And well, I'm excited to be back. I was gone a few weeks, and that's pretty much it. Like, I'm excited to talk about this stuff. I don't know.
Right? I know we've missed you.
Well, here I am.
This is your third time through, right? Or second?
Yeah, this is my third time through.
Third time through. Woo-hoo-hoo. Good job. That's
Thanks.
great, Angela. Thanks for being on.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. All
guess
right. Who's next?
Is that me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
I'm Joanna. Hey. I'm in Kaysville, Utah. And
Cool.
I've known Jared for I don't know, how many years, Jared?
20 years.
Plus. So I can verify that he is a cool guy. He's always been a cool guy. So it's really fun to reconnect. In fact, I'm really excited. It was fun talking with you the other day, Jared, because it's exciting to know that you have maybe some similar spiritual views as I do. So I'm excited to connect with people who have some similar ideas and considerations. And it's always nice, especially in Utah. Say hi, Jeffrey.
Right?
You know, in Utah, we don't always find people who kind of think this way, and so it's nice to be able to connect with others who do. So yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here, Joanna.
No, thanks.
All right. I can't wait to hear about your Costa Rica trip too. I'm going to ask you at the end. All right. Thank you. All right. That leaves Nathan Lively.
Hello, 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 hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hey, Jared. Hey, everyone. I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in my kitchen. And
Awesome.
I'm excited to be back. I haven't come to the last two meetings. This is kind of the highest, one of the busiest times of work for me in the year, so I can't always get away on a Friday. But and today I'll actually only be here for about 20 minutes. But I did want to check in and say hi to everyone, and glad to be here.
Awesome. It's good to have your presence on the call. Thank you for being here, Nathan. All right. Well, let's get right into it. So basically, we're talking about the first hour of the audiobook, and excuse the siren. I think it's an ambulance. Yes, it is. I'm at Starbucks, by the way, where I usually am on our calls, and where I usually am most of the time. And all right. So for me, I re-listened to the first hour. I didn't hear the entire first hour, but I've heard the book like probably, I don't know, 80 or 90 times it feels like. But what I love about the first hour is basically the concept that God did not create the world. You know, when you hear that, it's like kind of shocking in a way, like, what? God didn't create this? But when they talk about how if he did, it would be a tale told by an idiot. And God's not an idiot. And actually there's a way out of this cycle of reincarnation and birth and death. And, you know, just that concept in itself is so shocking, but it's almost comforting. And it is comforting, actually. It's very comforting. So I really like that part. And that was probably the biggest highlight for me when I re-listened to it is that, and that there is a way out, and that the Course in Miracles is the way to shed the ego. And it's the teachings of Jay. And I like how they also dispel a lot of the biblical myths and things of that nature as well. So those were some of the highlights I got from the first hour. Who would like to go next? What were your highlights from the first hour? What stood out to you?
I listened to the first half an hour. I didn't have time for the full hour. And I think part of what I'm curious to hear more of, and you said you're recording these, right? So I can listen to the rest of what you guys. Okay, cool. Because I find it very frustrating, actually. I don't know if I've listened to other books, and I've read other books and other courses similar to this. One was called Busting Loose from the Money Game. And it was a very similar premise of in a way, like, we created the universe, we created the world, and so as we systematically release judgment and engage in forgiveness, or they had different language for it, but we can kind of, in a way, take back the power from this illusion that we've created, that it's all an illusion anyways.
Yes.
And this is all very different language from that. That was very Western in a way, whereas this is more like spiritual language, or even religious language of forgiveness, and more like A Course in Miracles. But I still find it really frustrating or challenging in a way, because I don't give it. Can I swear on this call? I don't know.
Oh yeah, you can, man.
Okay. I don't give a shit if I transcend my ego. I really don't. I don't give a shit. I want to have a great life. I want to be happy. I want to be a great dad. I want to be a great husband. I want to build a business that makes a difference in the world. And, you know, whether or not the Bible was accurate, really, I mean, I read the Bible. I find it helpful and powerful. But whether or not it was accurate or made up, I really don't give a shit. Like, it doesn't. And same with, like, if the universe even if the world is an illusion or not an illusion, it doesn't really impact the quality of my life. So I'm curious to hear the rest of the book, and I'm curious to hear everyone else's thoughts and ideas on that, because that's where I found myself going constantly in that first half hour. It was like, I don't care. I don't give a shit. So I'd love to hear everyone else's kind of take on that.
Well, and I have a response too, just that, I'm in the same boat, right? Like I'm building a business. I'm married, living a normal life. And I think especially all the answers are going to be, all your questions will be answered through just listening to the audio, and you're going to get more and more out of it. But what I got out of it was that I don't have to give up anything. This isn't like a process of, like, for example, a Buddhist monk who gives up, all worldly pleasures so that they can go be enlightened, which was my first plan. And this is actually what you're not really giving up anything in this sense, Will, as far as be the best dad possible. You're a brand new dad. Hell yeah. Be the most successful businessman that you can, and be the best husband that you can. And the tools that you gain from listening to this audiobook and doing Course in Miracles is just going to make things even better. More forgiveness, more enlightenment, more release of subconscious guilt. In fact, it's not like you're giving up anything. It's just almost enhancing the experience. They call it the happy dream. So we're still dreaming, right? But when you have it as a happy dream, that's kind of like the final dream, actually. Your dream just gets happier and happier. So,
right.
But that's just kind of what kind of comes to me when you say what you did. You certainly don't have to change the ego at all. But you will transcend it as you go through this, and I'm sure you already are. I mean, it's inevitable. In fact, it's already occurred as we listen to the rest of the audio.
Cool.
Yes, and thank you for your contribution. Thank you for what you said, because it's super real, man. And like, I totally can't wait to keep talking to you as we go through the recording.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah. All right. Who's next?
I don't know what to say. I only listened to it briefly while I was cleaning.
Cool.
But I really, it's interesting because, I grew up in organized religion with a typical, patriarchal Godhead, whatever. And so it was really interesting to, like you said, Jared, to hear about the world wasn't created by God. Because it's like, I feel like, okay, so, we've got this divine creator, but how does this all work together or whatever, so I really appreciated that idea. It's like, we learn about, scientifically, we learn about how things have always existed and how things, there's like patterns, and there's so much beauty in the patterns that you see, and you can see that in everything in nature, and we're part of that, and animals and relationships, and it's just so multifaceted, and it's so beautiful. But it's like the idea to me of one person creating, and then it begs the question, well, where did that entity or that person come from, and how did that get created? It's like everything just is, and it exists, and that's really beautiful. And I love the idea of putting faith into that, and understanding that we're all part of a bigger system and a bigger whole. So I appreciated that part.
Oh, for sure. And it's definitely not saying that God doesn't exist. It's
right.
Just that he didn't create this world. And have you heard the part of the audio where it talks about how it's as if we had a faulty canvas? Because like, for example, you made a masterpiece, but then as soon as it's beautiful and grown, it withers away and dies, like us.
Yeah.
Do you remember that part?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the craziness of it all, is that it doesn't last, and God is actually unchangeable, and anything that's not unchangeable is actually not of God. It's of the ego. The only thing of us that's not unchangeable is our spirit, or however you want to call it, our soul. And I think that to me, that's the most exciting part about it, because honestly, Joanna, I am tired of reincarnating. I already know my past lives. I already know that I keep coming back. I was ready to go be a monk. I haven't really talked to you about that, but I made a decision that I was going to go be a monk, and This was like when I was about 23 years old. Angela was there. And I actually went and was in a monastery and studied in a monastery and like went I shaved my head. I did like everything, and I was like ready. Seriously, I was single for 5 years. I did the whole nine. And what I learned even by being in the monastery, see, when you're a monk, is that you give up all your desires, and literally giving up all the desires was the kind of the key to enlightenment. And I thought, well, geez, if I don't have to worry about a wife and a family and a business and kids and all this, then I can focus on meditating and wisdom. And then that would be the fastest way to do it. But then when I got there and I realized, it's no greater. I could live a normal life like I live and evolve spiritually without being a monk. Mm-hmm. When that happened, and I learned about Eckhart Tolle, Eckhart Tolle, of course, and how he has a girlfriend. I'm like, what? He's not a monk, but he's so spiritual. And then of course I had a huge ego about how spiritual I was, right? Because I'm better than you because I'm going to go be a monk and I'm so spiritual and I'm so deep or whatever. Well, that's all ego. And that's like another trick, right? And so when all that happened and I was able to kind of say, okay, I'm going to grow spiritually and be a regular person, because I still had all the desires. I was just trying to be a monk, I didn't do anything different I didn't find Course in Miracles, Joanna, for like 5 years. I was just, I had a Buddhist background, but I was just kind of there, And when I found Course in Miracles, and when you listen to the rest of this audio, oh my God, especially when we get into the second hour, I was like, I finally found something where I can be a regular person, but still evolve and still completely shed the ego and still have total enlightenment and still have, but it's going to take work, and it might take multiple lifetimes, but it's going to happen a hell of a lot faster than me trying to figure it out on my own. In fact, that's not going to happen. Anyway, I'm so excited about it because now I don't have to reincarnate anymore. Or maybe only 1 or 2 or 3 more times, and then I'll actually be able to transcend. And that's the biggest contribution I can make to this planet, is to grow in that way. And we're all doing that. I mean, especially everyone on this webinar. But Course in Miracles is not even as old as rock and roll. Course in Miracles was written in the late 60s, early 70s. Right. I mean, this stuff is so brand new in a way.
No, and I mean it is, but it's so like eternal lessons,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think it's a really amazing thing, because I feel like we're at an age where a lot of people are starting to rise up for, being more mindful and being more aware, and they want to return to the balance, that exists, naturally, that we've, as human beings, we've thrown things off. And of course, there's all these lifetimes and experiences. And I mean, it's a really beautiful thing. So thank you for saying that.
Oh, yeah. You're very welcome. And I seriously can't wait to talk to you more after you listen to the second hour. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I was talking to Corey yesterday, and he's like, I want to know what you think about this when you're
done. Cool. Yeah, Corey was one of my very first invites.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Thank you, Joanna. All right. Nathan, hey. Angela, Nathan.
Hey, Will, where did you hear about busting loose of the money game?
Sorry, I heard about it 7 years ago from, I don't know where. There's so many resources in my life, and I can't remember where they all came from, but that was one of them.
Okay. It's a funny coincidence because that is the only book I've ever heard Gary Renard recommend.
Really?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I found it very, for me personally anyways, I found it very destructive.
Oh, yeah? Do you say destructive or constructive?
Destructive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Why would you find it destructive?
It's funny because because he, it's just like Disappearance of the Universe. He's basically saying like, you are making all this up.
Oh, yes. Okay. I can totally see that.
Yeah, that's what you mean, right? Well, like destroying your previous beliefs about money.
Yeah, like if I made all this up, then I don't need to pay my bills.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is what I did for a long period of time.
It's funny though, Will, like I don't know if you guys have looked at it yet, but if you look at the cover of that book, it looks ridiculous. Like you would never read that book. But once you get into it, I would never have looked at it if he hadn't, Gary Renard would never recommended it. But you get into it and it's like, holy shit. And I don't still do everything he talks about on there, but I still do a lot of things. Like every time I see an order come in for like one of my books, I still think about like thanking that person and like gratitude for this money coming in. And I don't know, like a little bit of the attitude shift that I got from his book still stuck around. So sorry about hijacking Jared. I was going to tell you that I really like the first hour because he talks about wanting to remove conflict from his life. And I remember when I first discovered Disappearance of the Universe, I felt the same way, and I still feel the same way, and I still definitely think a lot about removing conflict from my life, and that's one of my greatest goals. And I try to think about how that plays itself out in different ways in my relationships and things like that. So whenever he hits that part in the book, that's always like a bing, like it rings true for me.
Absolutely. Well, that's the biggest forgiveness right there, removing the conflict. Thank you, brother.
Sure.
All right. Angela Irving.
Yes, it's my turn. Hi.
Hi.
Well, I listened to this again yesterday, and usually there's something that's like, oh, cool. That's my little like aha moment from this hour. But I wouldn't say that there was like one thing that stuck out to me in the first hour that made me go, oh man, that's what I'm going to say tomorrow. Um, but I would say, based on what some other people were saying, that I'm still sort of making the transition from being atheistic to being someone who believes in God. And so that just continues to be a process for me. And every now and then I'm kind of like, hey, help me understand how you exist. Hey, help me understand thing, like just kind of asking, and like I don't, send me a sign, I don't know. But I remember from the very beginning the idea that God didn't create the universe regardless of whether I believed in God or not, was very useful for me, because I was like, well, of course, because I mean, yeah, there's a lot of great things here. This can be a very happy dream and such. And I'm also aware of how my various choices and opinions can help this be more of a happy dream. And then whenever that like kind of ugliness bubbles out, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I need to like forgive stuff. But it's kind of helpful to think, oh, well, I mean, if there is a perfect being out there, that they wouldn't create something that's weird and messed up like this, even if it can be really great too, So that was really useful. I also, I've been going this direction more to, I am reading this book too, which, by the way, Nathan gave me 10 years ago.
Wow, good job, Nathan.
Yeah, which is hilarious.
It sat there for 10 years?
Yep. Just like a whole bunch of other books. I have like
right.
a library of all kinds of knowledge that will get read someday, maybe, I don't know. But it's funny, every now and then I find like an answer to a question that I had earlier on in this process that and I'm like, oh, there it is right there. There's so much of this book that is not on the audio. I have no idea how many hours it would be if they had the entire book on the audio.
Really? Oh my God.
Oh my God, so much. So here's one
maybe
thing.
I should read it.
Like early on, I was like, why do they have to call, if God is not male or female, why do they have to say he and she, or he and him? And that it's male, like, why do we have to go back to this like old way of thinking about God if like it transcends? I found a quote on page 97. Say Jay is using biblical metaphorical language in the course in order to correct Christianity.
In order to correct Christianity.
Yeah, so he's just using the same way of talking about the world that Christianity did, and basically to kind of like keep it consistent in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe somebody had even said that about something at one point, but just to kind of see that quote was really helpful for me, because I was, if male and female are equal, why the male, so.
Oh, yeah.
Book contribution this week.
Well, that's great. I love the book contribution. You're inspiring me more and more to read the book. I know my parents laid it on heavy. The last 2 weeks. So Joanna and Will, my parents are usually on the call, Randy and Viola Krebs, and they're in Vegas right now for their birthday. My dad's birthday was Wednesday. My mom's birthday is Saturday. So they're always, their birthday's right there together, and so they always do something. But my parents, they contribute so much to the call. In fact, they've only probably missed like one or two of these calls ever, and we've done this 4 times. We've taken 4 groups through. But yeah, they're avid readers of the book, and I've never read the book. I've only listened to the audio. So anyway, thank you, Angela, for inspiring me to read the book.
You're welcome. You'll
Keeps
like
getting
it.
more and more exposures on that. Awesome. All right. So did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Not right now, no.
Not right now? Okay. So I just want to tell you a little story. Joanna and Will.
I gotta run, Jared. Sorry, but I'll hear it on the recording though.
Awesome. All right, my bro.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Nice to meet you all.
You too. Bye. So Joanna, this little story is kind of cool. I followed Gary Renard ever since I started studying his book. So I've been listening to this book for like 3 years. And once I heard it, I started studying Course in Miracles, and I spent 23 months going through all 365 lessons. So if you do the math, I was basically 1 lesson every other day. But I spent 2 years. I did not, even though it's hard, I didn't care. If I had a busy day, I just come back to it the next day. But I stuck with it, and I did all 365 lessons of the workbook. And what those workbook lessons are designed to do is designed to kind of soften up the mentalities, shed layers of the ego, transcend some stuff, just see some stuff different. It's something that it's not like you've arrived once you completed the 365, because remember, the ego can never arrive. You can only transcend the ego.
Yeah.
Anyway, I started following Gary Renard, and he put out like this email, and it was like, I would get his emails regularly. He said, I'm feeling led to do some personal counseling sessions. So if you want to do an hour with me and talk to me for an hour or whatever, and do a personal counseling session, it's $300. And I saw that, and I'm like, sign me up. So anyway, looks like someone's at the door for Joanna. So anyway, long story short, I got to talk to Gary Renard. And this is our 3rd session with him is this Wednesday. I'm going to talk to him again. And we're going to be having lunch with him when we go visit LA at the end of June. And we're going to bring Gary Renard on this very call. My guess is either next Friday or 2 Fridays out, 3 Fridays out. I will let you know. But Gary Renard will be on this call. Mark my words. I've been planting the seeds with him every time we talk, and he said he would do it. So he said it would either be June 2nd, which is today, or it would be, I think, June 16th, maybe Friday, June 16th. So is it? Well, then that's when it's going to have to be, right? So anyway, that's something that we can all look forward to, and it's going to be really, really cool to have him on. And then Angela, I'm going to lay it heavy on you, man. Come with me to Corpus or wherever. Let's do this. Let's go see Gary Renard in October when he comes to Texas on the coast. Okay. I'll get you the dates.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to think that far out right now, and it kind of depends on a lot. But yeah, I'm very interested.
Okay. Hell yeah, I would have such a blast. Are you kidding? I would love it. So, all right, well, cool. So, that was just the kind of what I wanted to say about like kind of what's upcoming for the group. I know this recording will be viewed by some other people. And so, Angela, do you have any final words of wisdom or anything to say to end our call today? Any advice maybe to the people that are going to watch this maybe?
Well, it's an interesting exploration, and I mean, I've only been on this journey of this, this leg, because I've always been a spiritual seeker, and had a very long Buddhist chapter.
Right?
Yeah, I think you and my Buddhist chapters are about the same length.
Yeah.
And so it's just it's an interesting shift of perception and mental organization and just kind of the way of thinking about everything, I guess. But it's also very similar. It's funny to hear Gary Renard say that this path is almost more like Buddhism than it is like Christianity.
Yes.
Of course, I'm noticing more of the differences to Buddhism, but being raised in Christianity, I can sort of see how they come together in this way, which is neat. But of course, completely new things, which are a little freaky, but also neat. Trying to not babble. I think something that's just been really interesting this entire time is that whenever, even if I'm just not sure if it's going to work or not, if I'm feeling kind of any kind of negativity or anger or, just any kind of negativity, or I'm in pain or something, to just go, well, okay, I'm going to forgive whatever is appearing to me that seems negative. And it does help. And it's still somewhat a mystery, even though it's being told to me exactly what's happening. It still does, like I've had, been like, I forgive sleepiness. I forgive sleepiness.
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't always like work 100% or anything, but sometimes I've felt kind of like, oh, I feel a little, rejuvenated, or, I mean, there have been a few difficult times when I've felt like, oh, I've been really angry or upset with a person or something and couldn't just forgive them right away, or couldn't forgive myself or whatever, like you're supposed to forgive everything that's involved. But I would find like, okay, I'm going to forgive the anger because that's what I can forgive. I can't forgive that person yet. I can't forgive myself yet, but it would help lessen the experience. I mean, it was, it kind of die down eventually anyway, but I think it helps it to die down faster. And for me to, I mean, it's a nice idea to be like, oh, I'm forgiving this unconscious guilt that's just there, which is kind of neat.
Absolutely. Forgiving the unconscious guilt and forgiving things that arise that bother you, because there's no order of difficulty in miracles, right? So forgiving the smallest annoyance is the same miracle as forgiving outright total anger and rage. And the fact that, you're mindful of those things and doing them, I mean, that's a big win. Those are big wins.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Yeah.
Process.
That's right. Thank you. And Joanna, tell us a little bit about your trip to Costa Rica. I know you were there for a couple weeks, I think, or
yeah, like 9-10 days.
9-10 days.
Yeah.
What did that do for you? What's going on with you? Talk to me.
Well, and I'm so sorry.
Hey, and by the way, this is being recorded. Okay, so.
And then she came later, so I'm really sorry about all that nonsense.
Oh, it's okay.
So I missed a little bit. I'm excited to go back and listen. Costa Rica was amazing. So I just, I feel like I've been on this spiritual path for many, many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of go through periods of stagnation. And the last probably 3-4 years, I felt a little bit stagnant. About a year ago, I just said, okay, universe, like I know I've got things that I need to do in my life, and people that I need to learn from, and people that I need to influence. And so, I am open. I am open to receiving what I need to receive and having the experiences that I need to have. And it's been amazing to me because things are just popping up left and right, and in ways that I never ever would have expected. And I'm shedding, so much toxicity and just really embracing so many new experiences and ideas and people. But anyway, last fall, just in my Facebook feed, up popped this sponsored post, and it was like, sometimes when you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
This post comes up for this goddess ceremony in Costa Rica, and I'm like, I need to be there. And of course, the universe works in funny ways, and it wasn't going to happen. I thought, man, I really knew I was supposed to be there, but it all worked out, and it all just like so smoothly came together. And it was just a really incredible thing. We did meditation and yoga and workshops, and just kind of, it's like reconnecting to the divine feminine. And it was just a beautiful experience. There were about 16 of us women, and we went out, and I mean, one of the coolest things that we did, for me, was the most spiritual experience, is we went and helped a woman build her earth home, her cob home, out of mud with our bare hands. We lived on a permaculture farm. Got to learn about plant medicine. We did yoga and meditation every single day. It was just this beautiful experience. And I came back just thinking, hell yeah, I'm a goddess. This was amazing. But also I went with some intentions, and kind of like, I need to figure out my life path stuff. Like, it's time for me to start doing something. And it became very, very clear to me. Messaging became very clear what I'm supposed to be doing. And so, I feel like this is one of these little things that are just kind of falling in line. So it was really cool that you reached out. So yeah, it was beautiful. I've never been to Costa Rica. It was gorgeous.
And what are you supposed to be doing? Tell us.
Okay, so for many years, I have felt that one of my callings in life is to help women. But I'm like, how? I mean, I know I have a voice that women connect to. I'm not afraid to share my voice. I'm not afraid to be a cheerleader for women. I have been, a feminist for many years, but more so in just allowing people to be accepted as they are. And when I was there, I had a lot of very interesting experiences where I connected to myself in ways that I did not even know existed. And they were very spiritual and very confirming. And on the last day, I mean, through various experiences, I recognized some things that I needed to be like getting rid of in my life. But then on the last day I was there, I recognized that I need to be working toward opening a center for contemplation and spiritual healing for women. So we'll have workshops, meditations and healing areas. And so, yeah, I mean, it's, I'm a little woo-woo, so it's in line with me. But I feel like I said, I feel like we're kind of in an age where a lot of people feel the need to rise up, and they are shedding a lot of their prior socialization. And especially being in Utah and the religious culture here, as people shed that, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to learn, and they don't know how to heal. And I feel like that's one component. But also as a woman, we have a better platform as women today than we have historically since the Dark Ages. However, there is a masculine, power and a feminine power, and that's totally out of balance. And we need to restore that. And women shut down their voices, and they make contracts to please everyone else. And I feel like we're coming out of that age, but people don't quite know what to do with it. So that's my journey. It's going to take a while, and I need to build my tribe of people around who can help make that happen. But I'm super, super excited about it.
Wow. That's awesome, Joanna.
Super cool. Yeah.
I'm so excited. You remind me of Karina, which is one of our friends that me and Angela have been doing spiritual stuff for like 10 years or something. Like we met in college, but there was this girl, Karina, who was with us at the beginning. And now she's like this. What does Karina do, Angela? She's like this awesome spiritual leader. Like
involved in a lot of different communities. She wants to become, she's probably going to become a nun at some point.
Like a Buddhist nun?
Yeah, Buddhist nun. I don't really know the latest, but she teaches yoga. But she's just works, she just is connected to a bunch of different Buddhist organizations in the Bay Area. So yeah, I don't know if she's like in charge of anything, but she's always volunteering for them, and she's always at a bunch of different groups and such. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, it is cool. It's cool to like keep in touch and see how everyone's doing, and this definitely is. I think it's so cool that this little community that we have. I mean, obviously we're not a big group today, but we've done some good stuff in the last like 6 months, and it's just really neat to see how many people have started on A Course in Miracles since we started. Like I was actually writing them down, all the different people that have started on the Course in Miracles, including my own parents. You know, my dad finally got his book. Malcolm got his book. Greg Harrington got his book. Angela, have you got your book yet?
I have it on my Kindle.
Not yet? Oh, you have it on your Kindle. Okay, so you got your book.
Yeah.
Monica Penrod studying. There's just like, and everyone is just like such a big win. And anyway, I was just like kind of celebrating some of our successes. And then Joanna, when you got your person that came to your door, I was saying that we have Gary Renard, the author of the book. I'm actually his friend now. I hired him to be for my like a personal counseling session. It was like $300 to talk to him for an hour, and we talked to him on a Zoom call. And like we've done 2 of them, me and my parents have, and we're going to do a 3rd one this Wednesday, and we're going to have him be a guest on this Friday webinar in the next couple weeks. So I'm super excited about that, and that will be obviously really cool to ask him questions and have that time with him. But we're also going to be having lunch with him in June at the end of this month, because we're going to LA, and we're going on a vacation, me and my wife, but part of our vacation is to hang out with Gary Renard in LA. So anyway, that's like probably one of the highlights of my whole year, if not my whole life, you know. So this guy's an enlightened master, man. In his next life, I mean, he's
not enlightened yet.
What?
He's not enlightened yet.
I know, in his next life though. And anyways, it's not about that, but it is about that, and it's so cool. So that's just a little kind of the pulse of what's going on. So let's just end the webinar by talking about our highlights. So the highlight for me on this call was hearing from Joanna, hearing from Angela, hearing from Will, hearing from Nathan, and everybody kind of learning their stories of where they're at. I also always love talking about the concept that God did not create the universe and how shocking that is. I also, what did I learn? I learned that I need to start listening on Thursday, because my plan was to listen to the whole hour on Friday, but I ran out of time. So I need to start listening to the whole hour on Thursday, just in case, so that I'm ready on Friday. So I'm going to be listening to the first 2 hours again, and I always get more out of it. I'm also reading A Course in Miracles. And the last thing I want to say before I pass it to either of you is one of the things that I've been, I don't know if maybe I've been reading it in my Course in Miracles book, but is looking at people and seeing them as perfect, seeing them as totally perfect, and looking in their eyes and just thinking about how perfect they are. And I was in Starbucks yesterday training someone for our business, and I looked at him as perfect. And I looked at all the people who were sitting in Starbucks on their laptops and just saw how great and wonderful each of these people were. And I got into a headspace that I haven't ever been in. Like I felt, I was like in another dimension for maybe 5 minutes, just in the of like how I felt God's love and God's presence when I was looking at how perfect everyone was and seeing Christ in them. And like, I couldn't sustain it, but I had that experience yesterday. So that was one of my big highlights I wanted to share with y'all as well. So, all right, who wants to go next? What were your highlights from this call, and what did you learn?
oh gosh, I don't know how to summarize it, friend. I think I just enjoy having conversation about this and hearing other people talk about this in general. I'm interested in looking at that book that both Will and Nathan are talking about, if that was a book that Bernard was referring to, and especially having to do with money. Yeah, like, because, yeah, it is kind of funny. It's like, okay, none of this exists, but we still have to kind of play like it is, like it does, and we have to kind of like follow the rules of the universe, because if we don't, then it just does, I don't know, it really won't work. But like, yeah, nothing here works, but like it really won't work if you don't pay your bills. But yeah, I mean, what do you remember what the name of that book was? Like, I guess
no, but could you maybe on the group tag them and make a post and just ask them to let us know?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
I'm trying to think of what else. I think it's just, it feels good to kind of keep this program running by talking to other little pieces of God like you guys.
Right.
Yeah, that's
cool.
That's what I got.
Thank you. And nice earrings, by the way. They're
Thanks.
Fabulous.
I thought that would be fun to, wear skulls.
They're fabulous. All right. And Joanna, what were your highlights from today's call and what did you learn?
Honestly, I'm such a last minute Joe. We literally talked like the other night and I hurried and listened while I was, it's such a busy week. I've had my senior graduated from high school and
ooh, congratulations.
Graduate, like it's just been insane. So I feel like I didn't give enough attention when I listened. So I'm excited to go back and actually re-listen. But I'm excited to hear you, Angela, talk about the book, because I'm a visual person and I do better reading. So I'm excited I'm going to grab a copy of that too, so that I can kind of use that as I go along as well. But for me, it was just, I think getting to like connect with people and get to see your faces and hear your voices and talk. I'm really excited about that component of this as well, to hear different ideas. I liked that there were kind of some different input, that was brought into this today. And so it'll be interesting to see everybody's opinions and how they take everything. And I love connecting with other people that way, because I feel like that gives you, when you read something on your own, you have your own interpretation. But when you connect with other people, you kind of have ahas sometimes. So yeah, that was kind of cool to hear different perspectives. So I'm excited to continue that conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joanna. And you're absolutely right. It is so cool to hear people's perspectives and get aha moments from whatever they say. That's definitely a huge highlight for me every week. And cannot wait to talk to you after you listen to the rest of the first hour and the second hour. And you get the book. Oh, my God. Yeah, you're going to be all over it. So thank you for being on.
Totally.
Yes. All right. So this concludes our call. And so we will be back here next week at 4 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Mountain, 2 o'clock Pacific, and 6 p.m. Eastern 5 p.m. Eastern for those people on the East Coast. And I want to encourage you to invite others to join us. And just because they missed the first hour doesn't mean they can't get on and listen to the first 2 hours. You can invite people on. We've had as many as probably 9 or 10 at one time on these calls. When we get 9 or 10, we have to actually use a timer and make it like 1 minute shares, because otherwise we won't get through it. But we do real well when it gets a big group as well. Either way, I don't care. I'm going to be here no matter what. And we're going to keep the conversation going. So thank you for being on. I hope you all have an awesome day. And let's end the call by saying, have an awesome day and God bless.
Have an awesome
day and God bless.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.